when the club was basically taken over by the federal government because they, the owner, tax evasion, Rick Rizzolo, all that jazz. What ended up happening was they removed that building's ability to ever have a tavern or a strip club in it after a year that it closed. Okay, so a year from 2007 when it closed and it had not reopened, that building no longer could be used as a strip club or as a tavern, for that matter. Okay, so that brings us up to 2011 when this other gentleman buys it, and he wants to make it a strip club. So what ended up happening on June 20th at the city council was that you could say that this gentleman persuaded the city council to reconsider the fact that he couldn't have a strip club there. And once again, I just want to state one more time, no problem with strip clubs. My issue is not with this business owner, okay? It just isn't. My issue is with the city council and how they handled this. Basically, what it comes down to is for Rick Rizzolo's fine for that building came out down to over $2 million. It was his fine for tax evasion and all that stuff. So what the new owner did was he said to the city council, look, I would really like to use this building as a strip club again. So my thought is that maybe you could reconsider the ordinance, the zoning ordinance that, restricts me from doing that. And maybe I could go ahead and just donate 1.46 some odd million to the city council. I don't know, maybe he didn't say as a show of his appreciation. I mean, his lawyer was the one that was there at this city council meeting. And where I had started this audio, the reason I'm not playing the entire city council clip, by the way, is because it is over 25 minutes long, this whole discussion. And clearly that's like half my show. So we're going to be skipping through it, okay? And I don't want you to think that I am intentionally trying to misrepresent or cut things out of context, okay? I would completely encourage you to look up this conversation yourself. You can find it on the city council's website. This is all public information. And I do not believe that I am misrepresenting this at all. So I am cutting it up, but I'm not cutting it up with trying to take things out of context. That's all I'm trying to say. Just simply a time restraint issue. So I want to go ahead and let you listen, though, to how this discussion went down in the city council. And if you have any thoughts afterwards, I will give out the number again, but the number to call in is 702-257-5396. And like I said, I'll give that number out again after these clips. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one, which would be the city attorney, and then goes into Bob Coffin, I believe. Do we have that?
Crazy horse, Mr. Rizzolo. That fine imposed by the council was $2,100,000. There was some litigation over whether that was the correct amount, and the Nevada Supreme Court determined that amount would be $1,461,000. That is the amount that is being offered to be donated if the council were to find a way to resuscitate the license. Bill 2012-27 is a bill that would accomplish that. What it does is it addresses nonconforming uses whose use ceased as a result of governmental action and would allow those uses, if that were the case, they'd have 1 year from the date this ordinance passes to come and get a license and make beneficial use of it.
Okay, pause that. Okay. So I don't know if you caught that, but basically what he's saying is that I'm holding this ordinance in my hands right in front of me, and this is bill number 2012-27. And this is an ordinance that was written, by the city council, the city attorneys, whoever writes these things. And it's written strictly for this gentleman and his club, allowing them basically to get around this law. It states, the previous sexually oriented business and tavern, when first established, were lawfully established at the location under applicable zoning regulations, whether because no distance separation limitations existed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so basically it's about 2 pages. It's pretty short. And it's basically like, I hate to say it, sorry about that. It basically prohibits it being used for any other establishment except for the Crazy Horse. It's strictly an ordinance that they wrote so that he could go around this law and get his business back. And like I said, I have no issue with him. Okay, it just seems interesting that it seems to me like he just bought the city council to write a law for him. I don't know. Can we keep going with that?
It would be extinguished again. That's essentially what the ordinance does. I think that's exactly what we're here for. I need to let you know that what's on the agenda today is the ordinance, and there should be a lot of discussion about that. Because there is going to be this donation associated with this ordinance, it's natural you're going to have a discussion about that. We have a separate city policy that deals with donations. Donations up to $50,000 can be accepted by the city manager, but over $50,000 have to be accepted by the council. We do not have an agenda item on today to accept a donation. We will have an agenda item on July 18th. I believe that Mr. Brown is going to address that and tell you how they plan to pay the city if that's exactly what you want to do. But today's agenda item is on the ordinance, and I think it's appropriate to discuss something regarding the fine.
Okay, so if I may repeat that and be clear, today is about the ordinance and the funds that may or are going to be contributed to the general fund for the city cannot be taken up today because it's not agendized, and it will have to go then on the July 18th agenda.
Correct. You cannot vote on taking the donation today.
Okay, but on the ordinance itself, on the club or the building, we can.
You can.
We can. Thank you.
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, so